You're about to watch a video that's an excerpt of one of my online courses, free sample if you will. If you enjoy it, please get in touch, dan@brojo.org, and let me know what you think. We've talked enough about red flags, so let's talk about green flags. Let's talk about what healthy boundary reactions should look like. It's actually easier to measure good reactions than it is to measure bad ones. You've got to remember that a good, healthy connection is almost effortless. You shouldn't really have to worry about the way they respond to your boundaries. It should be clear to you that that's going well whenever you do it. So you're kind of looking for someone who fights well. One of the best measures of the health of a relationship is how you disagree with each other, how you give each other negative feedback, how healthy those conversations are, how fruitful they are. Do they lead to an improvement in the relationship? There's really no other measure that's more accurate than that. So I'm going to list a bunch of them. Now, this person doesn't need to have all of them. Really, even just a few of them are probably a good sign. And very few narcissistic or abusive people will show any of these traits. And remember, measuring behavior rather than words is the easiest way to get the most accurate information. They immediately and permanently change their behavior. Now, I don't want you to confuse this with people pleasing, where someone just bends over every time you have a complaint. But generally, where you set a kind of deal breaker boundary with someone and you talk it through and they agree that this behavior needs to change for the health of the relationship, what follows is a consistent change in that behavior forever, for the longest time, indefinitely. And that's really, there's nothing stronger than that as a measurement. Like I said, if that always happens and the person never resists anything you say, that's a bit of a warning. But if you see a combination, sometimes they push back and say, no, I don't want to do that. I'm willing to lose you. And other times they're like, you know what, that's fair. I've been in the wrong here. I'm going to change it. And then they do. Yeah, that's a really healthy sign. They listen carefully. They let you finish. They might even reflect back what you've said to make sure that they've heard you right. They seem to care and they want to understand you, and it's more important to them than winning the argument. They are concerned that you're hurt, even though they might be the ones who are being accused. It bothers them that you're harmed and they want to understand it and care for you. When they do disagree, it's mostly about how you want them to change. It's not an invalidation of your hurt feelings or your boundary. They might say something like, I can see why you want that and why you believe that. However, I can't be this way. It's not right. It's not me. They never dismiss what you feel. They never say, you're wrong. You aren't right to be angry about that or anything like that. They're okay that you have this boundary, even if you're insane. Even if your boundary makes no sense, they let you have it, but they might push back on what it is you want them to change. They don't just say, no, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to discuss this any further. They always follow the discussion through to the bitter end. They never leave something hanging and refuse to go into that space. Now, some people, like somebody who's depressed, might not want to talk about it right now, here and today, but they will come back to it. They call you out on inconsistencies and boundaries that you have both with them and with others. It's like they're invested in you doing this well. They want your boundaries to be strong and consistent, even if it means they have to change their behavior, even if it's inconvenient for them personally. And it seems like they want to make sure they understand what you really want, that you're not just bouncing around between different ideas and going hot and cold. They want you to be solid. They urge you to stand up to them and to be honest and to be that way with others. It's like they want you to be assertive. They want you to respect yourself. They seem to prioritize you being honest over themselves feeling good. They're more upset with you hiding things that you don't like about them than they are with you giving them negative feedback. Like they seem to prioritize honesty over having a good time. They make obvious efforts to keep themselves calm and rational during an argument. You generally feel that they're a safe person to open up to, that you can start expressing yourself without even a clear idea of what it is you want to say. You don't have to worry that you have to do it perfectly or otherwise they're going to turn it against you or explode. They're someone that you can be messy with and not have to be afraid. They may not be perfect, but on those rare occasions where they do react badly, they come back and fix it. Now, I've got to emphasize rare occasions. So if someone always blows up and then comes back meekly and apologizes the next day, that's actually toxic. But someone who's usually really good with confrontations and they were having a bad day and they were sick and they didn't get enough sleep last night and then they exploded and then right away or as soon as possible they come back and they're like, you know what, I was in the wrong there. How can we fix this? Yeah, that's actually pretty good. And it's human. There's no partner in this world who will always react perfectly to every confrontation. In fact, I would consider that to be a red flag. That person is probably manipulating you. You have very little doubt about what they want and what they don't want, what their preferences are, what their boundaries and values are. They seem to be very good at setting boundaries themselves. They're very assertive themselves. So obviously they're going to be encouraging of you doing that. They seem to think that's a good way to be because they live by it themselves. On that note, they seem like they're actually willing to lose you if it means protecting their integrity. But they will also fight for the relationship. They're not going to give up on you easily, and they don't have unreasonably high standards, but they do not tolerate disrespect. You observe them setting boundaries strongly with other people. You can see that respect is a consistent theme in their life. They refuse to discuss emotional stuff via text or email, or they at least agree not to do it. And they prefer face-to-face. They seem to really value being in contact with someone and doing it properly. And they are congruent. That means there's no exceptions. There's no bizarre changes where they're one way with you and another way with other people, for example, or sometimes they're hot and sometimes they're cold. Now, you can really reliably predict how they're going to respond each and every time. Like, they almost never surprise you. Are you a nice guy or people pleaser who wishes they were more assertive, more honest, and better respected by others? Since 2013, I've been helping people just like you discover their integrity and apply it courageously to build deep and meaningful connections, get respected by others, and become the confident person you've always wanted to be. Imagine being able to speak your mind without worrying what other people will think or worrying that it's the right thing to say, and being able to assertively stand up for yourself and your loved ones. Imagine never feeling the need to apologize for who you are or what you want, and being able to live carefree without shame or the I'm not good enough story in your head. Imagine going to bed knowing that you courageously took every opportunity available to you and you've got no regrets because you always know what you should be doing in every situation. I'm so confident in my ability to help people like you unleash your highest level of self-worth that I give people a free coaching session to test what I'm doing. In this 1 hour session, we will uncover the biggest barrier to your confidence, whether it's an awareness problem, you don't know what you should be doing differently, or it's a courage problem, you know what you should be doing, but you find it too intimidating. I will guide you to make a breakthrough with your behavior to get through that barrier in a powerful way without feeling terrified and without destroying everything you love. I've had some people find this first session so powerful that I never hear from them again simply because they didn't need anything more after that. It launched them into the highest level of confidence that they've ever experienced. And if that's the result you get, I'm good with that. One client put it, this session was more valuable to me than 3 years of therapy combined. So if you're tired of trying to keep everybody happy and you're sick of worrying what other people think of you, and you're concerned that your people-pleasing and conflict avoidance is going to damage your relationships, then come and have a talk with me. Worst case scenario, you get to experience what it's like to talk with someone who actually understands what it's like to be you. I've lived the nice guy experience for decades. I know it inside and out. I know that pain. Case scenario, and very likely, you will have such a powerful insight into a behavioral change that you can make in the next 24 hours to significantly improve your confidence, relationships, and career. All I ask is that you be honest, open to change, and willing to try something new. Why wait another 10 years to discover confidence when you can do it today? Fill out the brief form below to apply for a trial coaching session. And do this quickly because there are limited spots each month. And then I'll get back to you to book in a time to talk.